Hello everyone, it's Anna, also known as Book Anna, and today I have a video that I wanted to do in a long time because it really seems fun and I love watching these videos because they're kind of satisfying to watch. I'm going to be tier ranking all the books that I read last year. Only books that I didn't put here are the books that were part of the series, so I just put like the first book of the series and it's going to represent the whole series, and I didn't put manga books here. All the other books are here, even nonfiction. So I'm going to be tier ranking them all. I have 7 tier ranks. The first one is Okay Wow. That's because the books were so good that I didn't even have words. The next one is Damn, because it's still good. It's still good. It's like, it's not as Okay Wow, but it's still very, very good. Like, then we have Yes. These are the books that I still loved. I still liked a lot. Then we have Sure. These are the books that could be better, but I can understand why people like them. Then I have It Was a Book, and that's the only thing that matters. It was a book, and at least it was a book. Then we have Whelp. These are for the books that I did not really enjoy. And then we have Nope. Well, from Sure to Nope are the books that I did not really enjoy. Like, It Was a Book from to Nope are the books I did really enjoy, but yeah. I'm going to try to be as fast as I can because there are like 70 books here. I read 81 books last year. My average rating was 3.3, so let's see after almost a year for some of these books how I feel about them currently. Starting with Masters of Death. Masters of Death is one of the books that I'm going to put into Sure category. I did love the beginning of this book. The ending was so mumble jumbled. It was so confusing. I did not understand it very good. Not because it was very hard book. I don't think it was written well. The ending was so badly written. The beginning was and the middle was great. I know a lot of people don't really love this book, but I thought it was okay. Then the next one I have is Battle Royale. This one is going to go into Nope for me. This is a book that I DNF'd after 300 pages. This is a 500-page book, and I just I did not like it. Okay, so I rearranged some of the books because I didn't want all the books to be now into Nope category, but yeah, I DNF'd this one. It was so boring for me, to be honest. It was really dull. Like, everything that the characters were trying to think about was just, okay, I get it. Just do it, just do it. Yeah, it's not for me. This is a book I would not recommend. It was really vile and gruesome. The next one is Battle of the Linguistic Mages. You'll see now why I rearranged them, because this one is another one that is into Nope category for me. I did not like this book. I DNF'd it after 100 and something pages. I don't even remember what it was. I just remembered it was really bad. I didn't like the writing style at all. Then we have With a Fire and High. This one is a contemporary book that I listened to, and I'm going to put it in Sure category. I did enjoy this book. I think I would maybe enjoy it more if I were in high school, at the beginning of the high school, but it wasn't okay. I can see why people like it. I think it was very fun. Then we have Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. This one is going to go into Yes category. As much as people hate on this book, I like this book a lot. I like the characters, I like the plot. I tried reading These Violent Delights by her. DNF that book. Did not like this book, so yeah, I don't know, but Immortal Longings worked for me. I feel like it just didn't find the right audience yet, like that book. I feel like it just needs bit more time to find the right audience. Then we have House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This is one of those books that I read because they're so hilariously bad and stupid, and I just love it. And I'm going to put it in Sure category because it's so fun for me to read them. Then we have Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I'm going to put this book into Whelp because this book was disappointing for me. It's romantasy. I rarely pick up romantasy books, but when I do, I pick them up because I heard something about them that I liked. I just don't pick them up on a whim. This one I heard a lot about. I heard that it was like Howl's Moving Castle. I do agree somehow. Well, some, I don't know how you say it. I do agree with that statement. on some level. The worst thing about this book was because I could not picture the wizard. I did not know how old he was, so for the most of the book he was a very old man to me. That gave me the ick. Also, I did not care for the main character. I kind of found her to be a little unbearable. The plot was just okay. Then we have Eliza Clark. She's Always Hungry. This one is going to go into damn category for me because this is a short story collection that I loved. I love Eliza Clark. This is the second book that I read by her, so I cannot say that she's my favorite author because I have one more, Penance. This one and Boy of Bards are the books that I really enjoyed. I just love her writing style very much, and her stories, they're kind of weird. I did enjoy it. It's like a horror short story collection. This is a book why I decided to pick up a lot more short story collections in 2025. Then we have When Ghosts Call Us Home. This one is another YA book, a YA horror book. I'm going to put it in sure. I see myself picking up this book in high school and being absolutely obsessed with it. I wasn't as obsessed now. I would be if I were in high school. Then we have Frugal Wizard's Handbook to Living in Medieval England or something like that. I need to put this one in Whelp. It's by Brandon Sanderson. Sadly, this is the worst book I read by him. I just don't like that satirical writing style that this book has and that Terry Pratchett books have, and like Adam Douglas books have. Then we have Nevernight, and this is a whole series. I read the whole series and I'm going to put it in yes category. I did enjoy the series. It's not the best series I've ever read. The second book was the best, so I would recommend to read the series just based on the second book. The writing style is very pretentious, and I know a lot of people were bothered by it. I could get through it. It was a fun series for me. I am kind of glad that I read it finally because the last book was not the best. It was the worst in the whole series, but the second one was amazing. Then we have Studying Drowning by Eva Reed. This is a book I'm going to put it sure category. I think it was an okay start to a new series, but I have yet to see where it's going to end up. Then we have Monstralia, which I don't need to talk about. It's going to go into okay, wow. There are only 3 books going up there, and if you saw my favorites of the year video, you know what 3 books. Then we have Waves by Virginia Woolf. It's going to go into yes category. This is very hard to get through book for me. Because it was written, so you're following, I think, 6 to 8 characters, and they're thoughts, and it's not like now you're following her thoughts, now his, but they're like interwoven with each other, so you need to, from the context, understand which thoughts you are now following. So it was very hard to read, and my thoughts were going everywhere, but I just realized that I'm going to let my thoughts wander because the book is the book is written as wandering thoughts, so I'm just going to let my thoughts wander and enjoy the book as that, and I did then enjoy it a lot more. Then I have The Rabbit Hutch. The Rabbit Hutch is another one that is going to go into Whelp category for me. I do not remember what this book was about. It was weird. When I finished it, I felt so meh. Then we have What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This one is going to go into yes category for me. This is the first book that I read by T. Kingfisher. I have to pick up the second installment in this series. I don't know if there are going to be any more. I really like the world. They're like novellas. I also love novellas and then like series of novellas. I like that a lot. T. Kingfisher is one of the authors that I have a lot of her books on my TBR, and I definitely need to start reading them. And then I have Fevered Star, which is the second in Black Sun trilogy. I don't know what the name for that trilogy is actually, but Fevered Star, it was bad for me. I did not like it at all. First book I loved. I read it 2 times, and then I read the second book and it was just so hard for me to get through, like really hard for me to get through. I still am going to read the third one, but I don't expect any much from it. Then I have Surface Detail by Ian M. Banks. This is another yes book for me. It is a book that my dad recommended to me. It's part of the series. It's called Culture Series. It's a sci-fi. I think this one is 9th, but even though it's series, you can read them as standalones. There's only connection is, I think, the world. This book was very philosophical. It's about the society, and everybody is fighting about whether hell should exist or not. I'm not going to say anything else. It follows a lot of different characters, completely different characters. They were all very fun to read about. A lot of them are morally gray, which I loved. I think the series should get more love. Then we have Bright Young Woman. I don't have to talk about this book. It's going to go into damn category. I already said what I have to say about it. Then we have The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It's going to go into nope category. I hated this book. It was 600 pages too long. I wish I DNF'd it as the other two in this category, but I did not. I wanted to finish it because I thought maybe the ending was going to be so good. It was not. I'm glad that people like this book and that people love the series. I am not one of them. For me, it was just too boring, too bland, and I, again, hated the character, but I hated everything else. So then I have My Best Friend's Exorcism, which is another one that I already spoke about. It's going to the damn category. I don't think I have to say anything else. Then I have When Ghosts Call Us Home by Henry James. I can put this one in Whelp category. I can safely say that I did not remember stories in this short story collection. The only story that I wanted to actually read by him was The Turn of the Screw, and that's one of the stories that I didn't like. Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson. I can say for this one that it was a book. It did not teach me anything. I didn't come out of it with being astrophysicist. If you want to get his opinions on people, on things and what something is, you can literally just watch his interviews. This book was like a transcript of his interviews. Then we have The Familiar by Lee Bardugo, another one that I can go into Whelp category for me. I do not even remember what it was about. Most of the things that were good in this book were not even in this book, but off the page, so they actually weren't good, but they could be. They just weren't written in. I do not know why she decided to do that. I do not remember this book. I would not recommend this book to anybody. If you want to read Lee Bardugo, read Six of Crows or something, you know. We have House of Leaves, another one in damn category. I don't think I have to explain myself. Then we have Almond. Almond is a book that I can say, sure, I see why people like it. I picked this book up because when I was younger, I was obsessed with BTS, and one of the members in that group said that this one was one of his favorite books, so it was on my TBR since then, and then I just found it on my ebook and decided to pick it up. It's a book about the boy. His brain isn't developed in the area that should reciprocate feelings, so he doesn't feel anything, and a lot of really awful things happen to him, but I just did not care for him or the book, sadly. It just wasn't one of the books that I felt anything for. Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. I will put this book into sure category as well, because it was a fun book to read. I hated the pop culture reference. There were just too many pop culture references in this one, so it kind of took me out of the stories a lot. I will pick up the second one in this series, definitely. I have it, and I'm waiting for the third one to come out. I loved that this book was happening in Scotland, because I love Scotland. Then we have We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. Now, one Grady Hendrix is a dam, and the other one is a whelp, because I did not like this book at all. It follows this metal band, and they're like on this road trip, and it's horror, and it's gruesome, and it could be very good, but it was not. I did not care for anybody. I would recommend, though, if you're looking for something like this, it's not horror, but it was very funny. It's like a comedy movie, a Finnish comedy movie about this metal band that goes on a road trip. It's very funny, and I recommend that. Not this. Next book I have is Shadow of the Wind, another one that goes into Whelp category. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put it in It Was a Book, maybe. I did not hate this book. I just think it wasn't as good as I thought it's going to be, sadly. The thing that took me out of this book the most is one of the characters, not the main character, but one of the characters that is in most of the book, because he's helping our main character. And he was written as this quirky old man that been through a lot, but he means well, and I just did not like him at all. I didn't like his comments at all, and it just really took me out of the book. Also, I think the book was a bit too long, but I still want to read other books by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. Then we have Mayfly by CJ Leeds, another one that I can put in It Was a Book category. It disappointed me, but I don't think this book is that bad. It was just a little bit disappointing for me. The story has so much potential. It just wasn't written as well as it could be, but I still want to give this author a try because all of her books sound so interesting. Then I have Winter in Sokcho. I can say that this one as well was a book. I do not remember what it was about. I read it somewhere at the end of last year, and I already do not really remember what it was about. Then I have Dictonomy. I can say that this is the book why this category is called It Was a Book, because this is indeed a book. A very, very beautiful book. Do you have to read what is inside this book? No, you do not. Trust me, you do not have to read what's inside this book. It's enough to just look at the book. It will be prettier that way. The next one I have is Emily's Wild Encyclopedia of Fairies. Nope. Not for me. I hated the main character. I hated the romance. It didn't make sense to me. I feel like all the coziness was just sucked out of it. It wasn't cozy for me at all. I did not like the writing style. I just want to get rid of this book, sell it to somebody, and never think about it again, because this book was the biggest disappointment, I think. I was so into the thought of reading this book, and then it turned out to be something that I really did not like, and I really tried. I read it. I did not DNF it, although I should have. No, just no. Then we have Towards Architecture. I can say that it was a book. You think J. Kristoff's writing is pretentious? Try reading any architecture book and you'll see what pretentious writing is. I do not agree with ideas in this book, now even less than when I read it. It's a nice book. It's very pretty. It's the ideas I do not like. Then there is Carmilla, which is going to go into yes category for me. I love this short story. I'm currently reading Dracula, and I would recommend picking up Carmilla before Dracula or into vampire stories, because this one is similar but not. It's a lot shorter and it's so beautifully written, and I would recommend it to everybody that loves gothic stories. Definitely. I loved it. And I have a Fate Inked in Blood, which is going to go into sure category for me. I thought this is romantasy. I don't pick a lot of romantasy. I thought this one was good. Because I like Vikings, and the only thing I felt is that author just watched the Vikings on Netflix and then wrote down everything that happened, and she just put it in her book, because like I can remember thing from each episode that I also read in this book, but who knows. The next one I have is Legends and Lattes. This is going to go into yes category for me. I thought this is the cozy fantasy that I want. I want to pick up the next one and the prequel. It was just so cozy for me. Maybe I liked it so much because I was in Italy. The next one I have is The Black Flamingo. Sadly, this is going to go into well category. Well, no, it's going to go into It Was a Book for me. This is a YA book. I think it's important read for people in middle school and high school, but sadly for me, this one read too young. I kind of feel bad rating this one at all. I'm going to put it in Was a Book. I feel like younger people would really enjoy this book. The next one I have is Brat, a ghost story. I don't think I have to talk about this one at all. Then I have Salt Grows Heavy, another one that's going to go into yes category. This is by the same author that wrote Blackened Teeth or something like that. I DNF'd that book, and I picked this one up randomly in a bookstore because of the cover, because teeth. I have some kind of obsession with teeth, I guess, because I love teeth on a cover. And I picked this one up, and it sounded so good. I did not even know that it's by the same author. Then I read it. I really liked it. It was so weird. The story of this book is so particular. I never read a story that was that particular to a book. It's like a horror novella about a siren and her plague doctor, and they're like going through these woods, and then they find a village, and I'm not going to say anything else about it. I would recommend it if you like really, really weird short horror novellas. I would recommend this one. The next one I have is Slimer. Already talked about this one. Hated the characters in this one. They were so slimy, but I still like the books. So you see, I do not hate the books if I hate the main character. I hate the books because they're bad. Then I have Plain Bad Heroine. I can say that this one it was a book. It was a book that I really wanted to enjoy. I had big expectations of it. I did not enjoy it, sadly. I think it could be better, a lot better. This book is a bit older, for a bit older audience than When Ghosts Call Us Home, and then for like adults is Silver Nutrit, which is somewhere here. Oh, here it is. Silver Nutrit is like for the oldest. So it's like, yeah. I read this kind of the same book in the age category. Then I have The Merchants of Venice by Shakespeare. I think this was a great, it's not an introduction to Shakespeare, but a great story that I read in English. First of his dramas that I read in English. I thought it was so funny. I laughed out loud at a couple of moments. I'm really glad that I picked it up. I have some more that I have to pick up by him. The next one I have is When the Reckoning Comes. This is a book that's going to go into damn category. It was like a contender for my top 10 books. I read this book as some of the others, Slimer as well, for this video idea that I had, and I read them and I filmed it and I never posted it because I wasn't happy with how it turned out. It was like horror book reading in October. This book really stuck with me. It's about a woman who is invited to her friend's wedding, and the wedding is on plantation, and she and this other guy, they're only black people invited, and they're ghosts, and it's very hard-hitting book, but I also really liked it and enjoyed the writing style, and I think the story was so masterfully done, and yeah, I would recommend this one. It is a horror book, but I would definitely recommend this one. Next one I have is Halsey's poetry book, which I do not remember how it's called, but I can say that this one was a book as well. Not really into poetry, and this is not a good thing to read if you're not into poetry already. A lot of the poems were just the same. They were cute, they were sad, but they were all the same. Then I have Silver Nutrit. Already said that it's like an adult version of Plain Bad Heroines and When Ghosts Call Us Home, but this one is the best out of all of those. I really enjoyed this one a lot, by Silvia Moreno Garcia. If you haven't picked up her books, I would start with Mexican Gothic, but Silver Nutrit is a good second book to read. The next one I have is In Foil Butterfly. Another of the books that was a contender for top 10. Another horror book. Really, it stuck with me a lot. I think about this book every day still. It's about a woman who runs away because something traumatic happened to her. Finds herself in these weird woods, mountain woods, and there's this little child that needs her help. The only thing I did not like about this book is the ending. It was too Hollywood-esque ending because there was like this, like, you know, big explosion and somebody walking out of it. This book I have is An Education in Malice. I'm so sad about this book. I have to put this book in It Was a Book category because I'm sad because I expected a lot more from this author. I feel like if you have not read Diary of Blood before this one, you would probably enjoy this one a lot more, but I did read Diary of Blood and I know what this author is capable of writing. The next book I have is All Hallows. This is a Halloween. Definitely read it on Halloween. It's not a great book, but it's very fun because it happens on a Halloween night, and it reminded me of that episode of Gravity Falls, like Halloween episode where there's like that shadow man that is going after them. The ending was a bit but it was a suspenseful, and it was... The next book I have is Handmaid's Tale, another one I don't think I have to talk about. Then we have Cleopatra and Frankenstein, another one I don't think I have to talk about. Then we have Paradise Rot, which is a book that I can say that it was a book with a lot of peeing involved. That's it. Then I have The Ninth Rain. The Ninth Rain is going to go into into damn category for me, because this series deserves more love than it's getting, definitely. I like the series a lot. I love the series actually, and I think a lot more people need to pick it up because I think a lot more people would like it and enjoy it. The next book I have is House of Hunger, which was sadly another letdown for me, so it's going to go in... I'm going to put it in It Was a Book category because it was okay. It was an okay read, but it could be so much better. Really, it could be so much better. It has such an interesting plot that was not evolved like it should have been, but yeah, I just expected a bit more. You know what? Actually, I'm going to put it in short. It was better than it was a book. It was better than these books, so I'm going to put it in short category. The next one I have is Haunted House by Lynn Tillman. I'm going to put this one in Whelp because it wasn't a bad book, but I just don't remember it at all. I read another book by her this year and I like that one a lot more. This one follows 3 different women and it's very weirdly written. She likes to jump a lot. The next one I have is Graveyard Shift by Emil Rio. This one is going to go into it was a book category. I feel like it could be better. You know what? Actually, it's going to go into short. It was okay. Wasn't the best. I think it could be a lot better. It's like a short book, so I don't mind that I read it. So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. Not one of my anticipated reads, which I can say sure. It wasn't the best book, it wasn't the worst book. If you want to read vampire books, I would not recommend this one because there are so many better. The next one I have is The Dutch House. The Dutch House is a book that my friend recommended to me. This is one of her favorite books and I really enjoyed it. I listened to it to Tom Hanks narrating it. I think it was a good decision because he has a very soothing voice and I really liked the way he narrated. It's like a historical family drama book and it's sad, but it was a very enjoyable read. The next one I have is Alice in Wonderland. This one is another yes. I love Alice in Wonderland story. I love movies. I love retellings. Anything. It's so weird and bizarre and it's just right up my alley. Mad Hatter is one of my favorite characters ever. I have post-Yugoslav literature and film, which is a non-fiction book that I'm going to put in damn category. The only reason why it wasn't in my top 10 books is because I don't think people would pick this book up and I wanted to talk about the books that most people would pick up. This is not sadly one of them because not a lot of people are interested in this. But it was, I was interested in it and I read it and I'm really glad that I did. Another one that I have is Archid's Progeny. It's going to go into yes category. It was a great Frankenstein retelling. It was gothic, it was atmospheric, it was feminist, and I loved it. Then there is Sirens and Muses. Another one that is going to go into yes category for me. Very beautifully written book about artists and artistry. Then The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, another one that is going to go into yes category for me. I like this book a lot. It kind of left me with a stale taste in my mouth at the end because it was a bit bizarre the way the characters were interacting with each other, these girls. I'm not going to say anything else. It's a very short book. Is it novella? Maybe it is a novella, or it's not novella, but it's still quite short. It's very fairy tale-y, and there are these weird girls in it. But yeah, I enjoyed this book as well. We have then Girls on Film. Girls on Film, another book that I'm going to put into yes category because this is another non-fiction book. I picked it up after post-Yugoslav literature and film because I realized that I loved books about movies. I get a lot of movie recommendations from this book for movies that I haven't heard about, and it talks about women in film and how it evolved throughout the ages. Then we have The Yellow Wallpaper, another one that's going to go into yes category for me. I absolutely loved this book. It is for short horror novella, classic novella, and I would also recommend to pick up poems by this author because her poems are beautiful. I'm not a poetry girl, but her poems I really loved. Next book I have is The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. For this one I can say that, sure, yeah. I thought it was cute, and that's it. That's everything that I have about this book. Next one I have is Rosemary's Baby, another one that I can put into sure category. It was a good horror book. I believe this is like one of the first horror books that was written in the city because all the horror books were happening like somewhere in country. I'm not going to pick up the sequel. I don't think the sequel is necessary for this book or anything. Then I have A Gift for a Ghost, which is a book, graphic novella. It was cute. I don't remember a lot about it. We have Tress of the Emerald Sea, which is going to go into, sadly, into It Was a Book. I'm so glad that people enjoyed this book so much and that they loved it. I didn't. It was not a cozy fantasy that was for me. I'm kind of sad because of that. It's again by Brandon Sanderson, which both books I read by him this year were not the best books that I could have read. And the last book I put so I can finish with a bang, that would be The Deep. And it's going to go into okay, wow category because this is the best book that I read this year. Okay, so there you guys go. Those are all the books that I read. Well, not all, but most of the books that I read last year. I feel like most of them I still feel the same. I think the most changes are from Sure and It Was a Book category. I just loved a lot of the books here. That's it. I think last year was a good reading year for me, and I hope I experimented a lot with genres that I read, so it's okay that there are a lot of books that I did not find that good. But yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I hope it was fun for you as it was fun for me filming this, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!